Bloomberg Audio Studios.
Podcasts, radio, news.
It is the heritage of the show, which is we do market economics. We're worried about economics, finance, investment, all the linkages, and that flows over into equities, bonds, currencies, and commodities. I think I came up with one of those phrases, and very decidedly Matthew Winkler, the founder of Bloomberg News, came up with the other phrase. I don't think I can remember which one's which, but, there it is. I think equities, bonds, currencies, commodities was from Matt Winkler, the founder of Bloomberg News. But the point is, we very early on figured out there was an insatiable interest in smart academics who could communicate. This single best idea is to focus on two of those and two foundational members of what we've done. It really goes back to, multiple decades, to the support of Kenneth Rogoff of Harvard University, many others, Ed Lazear, the late Ed Lazear of Stanford, and John Taylor of Stanford as well, many, many others, Meghdad Desai over at the London School of Economics. But one of the first people to climb on board the surveillance bandwagon was Barry Eichengreen. He is absolutely definitive at Berkeley. He writes what I call dense, which is if you get a 40-page paper from Eichengreen, like his paper that stopped traffic at Jackson Hole last summer, it takes you a long time to read it because he's so acute, so inward, that on international economics there is no compare. As I said today in the show, the only compare and contrast with Eichengreen on international economics is Douglas Irwin at Dartmouth College. Of course, we did the highfalutin discussion with Professor Eichengreen, but then we got basic. I asked Barry Eichengreen about Chinese electric vehicles.
Well, I think the Biden administration is attempting to do this in order to build up indigenous capacity in the United States to produce EVs. I'm not convinced this is a good idea. I think Chinese EVs are still down market relative to what we do and what we aspire to produce in the US. I think the result of these tariffs will be to reroute Chinese EVs to Europe and European production to the United States. I don't think there'll be a major impact on the U.S. in the long run. If we're going to be competitive in EV production, we're going to have to grow that capacity at home.
Barry Eichengreen, with too many books to mention, his seminal effort, pushing 30 years ago now, I believe, is Golden Fetters, which is definitive on early gold economics. It's, again, a dense read, but very important and a definitive read for gold. And also Globalizing Capital, which is somewhat the history of the International Monetary Fund. We move forward to someone who is with us often, and not every time, but I'll explain who she is. She is Wendy Schiller, and she has had prodigious impact in the civics of America. Her textbooks are not history, but almost civics lessons for a good part of America. She's hugely successful in the publishing industry and provides a high-energy effort at Brown University. Brown announced this week that they will establish some form of graduate-level school of international relations. They have wisely selected as interim chair of their new Brown University effort, Wendy Schiller. I was crushed. I was certain we were going to lose Schiller from Bloomberg Surveillance.
Well, of course, I wanted the job. It's very exciting for Brown. So we're really excited to be a place that will be producing not only great undergraduates, but producing, we already do, Masters in Public Affairs students, and being a player in trying to influence policy outcomes. We're on our way.
You're on your way. Very, very exciting.
And I can still do Bloomberg.
And good.
I literally negotiated in the agreement with them that I could still do Bloomberg.
Very good. That's a key item right there. A negotiating point that she could still come on air. Thank God for that. Wendy Schiller of Brown University. She went on to talk about, this is before we heard that the president will travel to France, but we talked to Professor Schiller about the great challenges of our political system. Paul Sweeney had some great questions on the trial unfolding downtown, the jury deliberation. Maybe by the time you hear this, there'll be some form of jury agreement. But David Gura is downtown, and June Grosso really was a value add today with her truly encyclopedic effort on American law. June Grosso, look for that on Bloomberg Law. It's absolutely iconic at Bloomberg, her late evening, I should say early evening effort across all of our Bloomberg platforms. We're on Apple CarPlay, we're on Android, on YouTube, growing every day. Thank you so much for the YouTube love. The live chat is just on fire, really can be very informative at times. You can subscribe to Bloomberg Podcasts on YouTube. That's the quickest way to get there. You can search Bloomberg Podcasts, and you'll find us there 3 hours live. And we do a replay of the show. You'll see that 3-4 hours later as well. But all the other work, including June Grosso and Bloomberg Law, Bloomberg Daybreak, I should mention, with Nathan Hager and Karen Moscow as well. On Apple Podcasts, this is Single Best Idea.